The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
I think it's starting to happen, Trevor. I think we're taking Quinn Hughes for granted, okay? This dude is beautiful. What? He's a spectacle. That's what I meant to say, okay?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
A happy Friday and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks because it is your Canucks every damn day. We're part of that Locked On Podcast Network. They're doing the most for sports fans across the world. And for our show, if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Make sure you go subscribe and like this video on YouTube, and on the podcast side, go follow us and leave a 5-star review because we're not here without you. And we're also not here without the sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I'm not always a betting man, but here's one thing I would bet on. Quinn Hughes hitting 100 points this season for your Vancouver Canucks. No Canucks defenseman has ever done that. No Canucks defenseman had more than 63 points before Quinn Hughes came to town, but this guy's a different beast, and he is on one to start the season. And I'm starting to wonder if there's the Quinn Hughes effect in Vancouver here, similar to the Connor McDavid effect, maybe in Edmonton and across the league, where you start not to appreciate the guy when greatness comes game after game after game. And that seems to be the case with Quinn Hughes right now. So let's touch on Quinn Hughes' brilliance, the potential for him to hit 100 points. Also in this episode, let's touch on Timothy Liljegren of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Can he be a fit for the Vancouver Canucks? And we'll also talk about the Canucks team dog, among other things. Lots to get into, but before we get into it all, let me introduce my co-host. Looking fresh, looking fly as always, Kyle Bowen. How you doing, brother?
Looking fresh, looking fly. And what are the chances you're saying that the day after we won a game? It is what it is, man. Winning fixes everything. Hey, speaking of which, man, Quinn Hughes, right, reads books. Look what I'm reading right now, okay? The Business of Winning, Building Winning Teams, written by one of the head honchos at the Athletic or the Athletic Hockey Department. He followed a whole bunch of GMs and talked to them, including a former GM named Jim Rutherford, okay, in Chapter 6. Digging deep into all the philosophies of, again, the greatest GMs in the game right now or in the past. All in all, I think Jim Rutherford knows or knew at the time of taking this job that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't impossible to turn the dreaded and toxic Vancouver Canucks around because he had the biggest pillar or the hardest pillar to find on your team, and that's a number one elite defenseman. Heck, one of the top 2 defensemen in hockey when Cale Makar's playing in it. Heck, one of the best 5 players in the world when he's on his game. And more often than not, Quinn Hughes, because he's so damn consistent, is on his game. And what we saw yesterday against the Florida Panthers was magical. And for a second there, I took it for granted, Trevor. Straight up. I knew it the whole way through that he was dominating, but after that win, man, you go through all the things that were happening and how great it was to win and the whole Pettersson thing and how he's doing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who cares? Who cares? Every time Canucks fans go sit down on their couch or on their seat to watch a Canucks game, like, you know how blessed we are to watch the greatest Canucks player ever do his thing game in and game out.
The greatest Canucks player ever. Now, that's something we haven't really talked about a whole lot either, but he's certainly making that case for himself, right? Obviously, just became the first Canucks defenseman to win the Norris Trophy. Look, I mean, with Quinn Hughes, I think, Kyle, you and I talked about over the summer, we wondered if this guy maybe would take a bit of a step back offensively, just because, again, are these guys going to save themselves for the playoffs, right, in terms of Quinn Hughes and JT Miller? But so far, what we've seen through 4 games is that Quinn Hughes is not just the best Canucks player, but he might just be the most dominant player, one of the most dominant players in the NHL, and still the most dominant defenseman in the NHL, right? Look at that Flyers game, right? You know, you lose Tyler Myers, and boom, Quinn Hughes is playing almost 32 minutes. And he's averaged over 27 minutes so far this season. And look, he's got 4 points through 4 games, and he looks like he's on a mission to create more offense, which is a scary thing from a guy who just had 92 freaking points from the back end. What was it? I think halfway through the game last night, what does this guy have? 8 of the Canucks, 18 shots at one point? I mean, look, I honestly think that this guy's got a really strong chance of hitting 20 goals this season, and I think he's got a really strong chance of hitting 100 points. And one of the last reasons why I'll say that is, so far through 4 games, again, very early days, Canucks power play hasn't looked dominant. I would say they've looked league average, maybe a bit below league average. They're sitting at 21.4% early on, which is pretty much smack dab in the middle of the league. If this power play finally finds a way to click again and start performing like one of the best power plays in the NHL, coupled with Quinn Hughes just dominating and dummying guys at even strength, look, I don't see why might even be a coin flip for this guy to hit 100 points.
Yeah, you're right. And Trevor Beggs, man, the darkest guy in the program, finds a way to bring Elias Pettersson to all this, right? Yeah, when you talk about the struggling power play, you're talking about who's on the right or left to Hughes, and one of those guys is Pettersson. And yeah, if you want to talk about his point totals and where they'll be, I think there's a base layer of like 80 points no matter what, and then there's this extraordinary number that kind of does rely upon that power play. Now that being said, I wonder if it also relies on Quinn Hughes being able to get his shot through for a full 82 game stretch, or Quinn Hughes being shot hungry and ruling the offense for the Vancouver Canucks for, again, the whole way through. Because I think last year we saw these similarities with Quinn Hughes' play, right? Like his ability to, I wouldn't say hog the puck, but demand the puck. And again, control the pace in the offensive zone and have all the offense run through him and have him just take shot after shot after shot after shot and then create chaos based on rebounds, tips, and blah, 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 right? We saw that last year. Now we're seeing that again. But at the same time, I think we're seeing Quinn Hughes with a new weapon. And last year there was noise about his shot getting better, but this dude blasted a shot through Bobrovsky that was 93 miles per hour. Now, 93 miles per hour isn't 98 or 100. It doesn't give him the hardest slap shot in the league. But again, it gives Quinn Hughes a whole new weapon because he wasn't shooting the puck 93 miles per hour last year. He wasn't. And how many goals did he have? 18?
Yeah, 17 goals, exactly.
Look, all in all, and Beggsy touched on the whole slap shot thing and his new weapon, but also touch on the fact that, and this is something that I was getting frustrated at a couple days ago, but man, oh man, again, I took it for granted. Having the offense run through him creates this outlier situation for the Vancouver Canucks because there they have one of the best players in hockey possess the puck for more than anyone on the team. And we're talking about a team that has Miller and Pettersson, but he's doing that. And I think that's what's best for this version of the Canucks while they try to figure out speed and transition and whatnot. Like they still got to score goals, and Quinn Hughes may be their best option to start all that.
And I think Quinn Hughes realizes that as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, we got the stat poll in the comments from Vancouver's My Life. Just dropping stats in the comments. There you go, buddy. The insider. 9 shots on goal last night where Bobrovsky had to make a save.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, one got in. 14 shots directed at the net. Look, I think Quinn Hughes realizes that, the offense runs through him and he's hungry to score goals, right? Scoring goals is fun. There's nothing that's more fun than scoring goals. And, again, the evolution in this guy's game from, entering the league as a rookie and just being an elite playmaker off the bat, an elite skater. His defensive game has become more well-rounded over time. It is incredibly hard to get by Quinn Hughes because his stick is so quick. His body positioning is so good. And now you're adding this offensive element to his game in terms of blasting shots through. And look, even on that goal last night, he blasts a shot, it gets blocked, he picks it up, and boom, bam, he scores. I mean, unbelievable stuff from Quinn Hughes. And look, this guy, again, we don't really talk about it. I feel like he's been around a while, right? Again, maybe he's underappreciated to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But the dude's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
That's the scary part, too, is that he might just be entering his prime right now, even though he just won a Norris Trophy in a 90-plus point season. And again, that's why I'm bullish on him, being a 100-point player in the NHL. And, hey, maybe even there's a back-to-back Norris situation here for Quinn Hughes as well.
Or potentially a Conn Smythe down the road. I mean, that's the goal, right? And maybe
that's what matters most.
And maybe there's I wouldn't say there's a distaste, but a level of casualness when observing these games from Quinn Hughes, right? And you have to throw in the fact that he didn't look his best against Tampa, and maybe there's like a bit of agony watching games right now, and things are not rose-colored, right? Through the lenses, but that should be the case, it being rose-colored through the lenses every time you watch Quinn Hughes. Because we watched hockey for a long time, man. And we've watched Quinn Hughes for a long time now. And outside of the learning curves early on in his career during the All-Canada division and whatnot and blah, 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 the kid was like 14 years old playing in that division. He's been so damn consistent. And what I'm liking right now from him early on, and again, this was kind of pissing me off like a couple games ago when he couldn't get a shot through. But man, oh man, the more and more I realize it through rationality is he is doing whatever it takes. And it's with sheer confidence, which is nice because, bro, there's a guy that's on this team that doesn't have a lot of that, right? And also his willingness to make sure this team's going to win. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to make some mistakes. And I'm going to fail, you know? What's this quote that I've been telling my friends, man? Look at this quote, okay? You think Quinn Hughes is doubting himself? Give me 1 second. Let me get this quote for you guys, okay? Because this is everything, okay? This is everything that matters with the Vancouver Canucks, some of their star power, Elias Pettersson, and again, Quinn Hughes, okay? Doubt will kill more dreams than failure ever will. Quinn Hughes is not afraid to fail. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do whatever it takes, and we saw it on that goal. The slap shot gets blocked, he picks it up and just wires it, and you could see it in his body language when he took that shot. It was a big FU. This is going in the net, and it would be nice if that rubbed off on, hate to do it, but Elias Pettersson. It's like, don't be afraid to do you. Be you. Remember who you are. You're that guy. Quinn Hughes knows who he is more than anyone because there's still doubt, you know? They're still like, oh, I think Adam Fox is still better than Quinn Hughes. Miro Heiskanen is a better defenseman than Quinn Hughes. Obviously, the whole Cale Makar argument, which is the only valid one. But there should be nobody else in that debate when it comes to who's the best defenseman in hockey. It's only Quinn Hughes. It's only Cale Makar. Don't be giving me any other defenseman in that debate because that's such a disrespect to, again, the driving force behind the Vancouver Canucks, man. And honestly speaking, potentially the driving force behind Team USA being hockey royalty very soon.
Yeah, man, oh man. And in terms of that Team USA, you know, you got JT Miller, Brock Besser, and Quinn Hughes, the American trifecta on the ice last day in overtime when Miller scores the game-winning goal. Love the point about Quinn Hughes not being afraid to fail. Look, I mean, there was some talk through the first 3 games of the season before last night about Quinn Hughes isn't getting his shots through and blah, blah, blah. And I think I even made a joke that Philip Roenick's rubbing off on him because he was just seemingly missing the net a bunch. But again, he stuck with it. And last night was a great example. 9 shots on net. 1 goes in the net. It's another brilliant performance from Quinn Hughes. The rest of the defense is a bit of a work in progress. And that's why on the other side, I do want to touch on Timothy Liljegren of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who has found himself in trade rumors and could be had on the cheap. Let's touch on his fit with the Canucks on the other side. We'll also get into the Canucks team dog, maybe a couple other points from last night, and your comments as well. Of course, all that and more coming up on the other side after we shout out our friends over at PrizePicks. Who doesn't love a prize, baby? And on PrizePicks, they are the leaders in daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks, they've made daily fantasy sports accessible to you and you and you and you and even you. Do you just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash? Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Let's go, baby. PrizePicks is the best way to get on the action in over 30 states in the U.S. and hey, maybe up here in good old Canada as well. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. Just to join over that 10 million users I mentioned and sign up today. PrizePicks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get money in as quick as 15 minutes. Come on, man. It takes me 15 minutes just to get out the toilet. Unbelievable.
Whoa.
So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed, baby. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, go check out PrizePicks today.
People, we doing everything we can on today's episode to make sure that you never take advantage of the moment, okay? Every time you watch a Canucks game, again, remember that it may never be like this again, like 15 years down the road. Heck, you never know when Quinn Hughes' contract runs out. Straight up, he loves his brothers, okay? For real. He's a family man. And Trevor Beggs, hey, family first. And I guess I'm going dark here, man. Yo, Quinn Hughes may leave the Canucks in a couple of years, but it's okay as long as he gets us a Conn Smythe, a Stanley Cup. For real. It's the truth. So again, don't take it for granted. Just understand that, bro, we're watching one of the best of all time. And when it's all said and done, I swear to you, I know it. I wasn't around in the 80s, barely around in the 90s, but I know it. 50 years from now, when they're talking about the best 5 defensemen of all time, Quinn Hughes is going to be in that conversation. So just cherish these moments, okay? And smash the like button if you're watching this video right now, okay, for Quinn Hughes. Beggsy, talk about it, man. Toronto Maple Leafs, a defenseman, trade rumors, what? Helping Quinn Hughes out, what?
Yeah, well, we'll see about helping Quinn Hughes. I'm thinking it maybe help the puck moving ability of the back end. Look, Eric Branson made his debut last night, and I think there were some ups and downs in his game. But the one thing I noticed is that he might move the puck better than anyone else not on that top pairing, and I don't think that's really a stretch to say that. To be honest, he had some good plays last night in terms of getting the puck up the ice. But again, this is a guy who can get pushed around in his own end a bit, can be a bit turnover prone. Did see his minutes. Him and Desharnais, I think, ended up with like 11 or 12 minutes each at even strength. Soucy and Myers, despite not being paired together at the start of the game, again, it was kind of like what I alluded to yesterday. The Canucks really went with the top 4 and the bottom 2, with Branstrom and Desharnais at the bottom. And look, there's some trepidation and some question marks on this defense, right? Tyler Myers is playing through some stuff. Carson Soucy had a tough game last night. It does make you think that, can this Canucks team and should this Canucks team add another defenseman? We all know the answer is yes. Now, could that guy be Timothy Liljegren? Now, this is a fascinating name to me because Timothy Liljegren, 25 years old, 2 years left on the deal, paying him $3 million a season. He's been a healthy scratch for 3 of Toronto's 4 games so far. And Toronto's in a situation right now where they are literally in cap hell. They're pretty much capped out right now, and they have 4 guys on LTIR that they're hoping to bring back into the lineup. So, Yanni Hakanpää, Dakota Murmurs are 2 defensemen on LTIR. They also have Kelly Yarncroke and Connor Dewar on LTIR. They got over $5 million of LTIR players. So once those guys are healthy, the Leafs are going to have to make some tough decisions. And the fact that Liljegren has been a healthy scratch in 3 of the first 4 games over a guy who we actually mentioned before as a potential maybe waiver wire target in Connor Timmins, it does seem like he might be on the way out in Toronto. So with the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, I'm intrigued by this fit, man. I'm not going to lie, in terms of pairing him with one of the big defenders in Soucy or Forward. And let's bring up the good old player card here from our friend over at JFresh for those on the YouTube side. And for those on the podcast side, look, this guy is his projected WAR, wins above replacement, is in the 81st percentile. Touted as a second pair defenseman. He's got good metrics in terms of his even strength offense, his even strength defense, not bad finishing. I mean, this guy has averaged in a bottom pairing role, 30 points per 82 games, right? And he's not like he's terrible defensively either. He seems to get cut out of the Leafs lineup because he's not very physical, right? And now you got a coach, Craig Berube, who does love his big bodies and big defensemen. I mean, much like this coaching staff here, but in Vancouver, you have the big defensemen, right? You have Soucy, you have Myers, you have Fulbert, you have Desharnais. I think it doesn't hurt. I think Liljegren, to me, is probably a better version of Eric Branson, and he plays the right side. And I think this is a guy you could have on the cheap. So if you're trading for him, I think you could, maybe even trade a guy back like a Fulbert or a Desharnais to Toronto. Again, they love their big bodies on defense. And then maybe there's like a mid-round pick as well, something like that. But Kyle, are you intrigued with the idea of acquiring Timothy Liljegren, or is this something the Canucks should steer away from?
I think if the cost is low, why not? Because there has to be an improvement there. Like, something's got to give. What do they call the defensemen? The bottom 3 defensemen in Vancouver, like the trunks or like the tree stumps or whatever. All in all, like it's again, I don't know if Brandstrom's the answer, but the pace in which he plays at, / his ability to just make again a first pass is so critical to the next evolution of the Vancouver Canucks. And I'm afraid that if the Canucks don't not necessarily find a replacement for Brandstrom, but prioritize puck moving this season, the Canucks are not going to go anywhere. They're going to go anywhere different than they did last year. Straight up. For the Canucks to reach their potential, they need to again lean into a bit more transition and lean into Miller, Pettersson, etc. And it's a missing piece. And it's funny how having Branson play 13 minutes helped us play a little bit different. I mean, that was the best Canucks game of all of the season so far. And I know Branson played 13 minutes or 11 minutes, but don't fool yourself. He had something to do with it. Because it's all in the DNA of the game. Again, the pace was different. When you have like just trunks back there and just dumping the puck out, you're not playing with swagger. You're not playing again with transition. You're playing looking for a mistake, instead of trying to force the issue. All in all, can Liljegren be this guy? I wonder if again, Tocchet and Berube are like homies. They talk a lot. Straight up. I wonder if I mean, now they're in the league. Now Berube's in the league at the same time. I wonder if like competitive advantage blocks some of their communication or some of their friendship and some of their honesty. But like, what if Berube calls Tocchet and is like, "Oh, I heard there's an offer on the table and we can get Vincent Desharnais, a dude who went to the Stanley Cup Finals for the Oilers for this Liljegren guy, or what do you have to say about Vinny Desharnais?" It's like, dude, Vinny Desharnais is worth a 7th round pick. He's still getting, but he's a waiver guy. It's the truth, man. People think I'm being mean. People think I'm being an asshole when I say things like that, but I feel like there's no trade value in that guy.
Unless you got a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs who likes their big boys on defense and wants to get some cap relief, right?
Okay, bro. They play what division? The division of hell, right? The division of hell, the hardest division of all of sports. Bro, there's no way unless they're stupid that they're going out of their way to bolster their defense with Vincent Desharnais. Just the truth. The Canucks are the only team in hockey. We like to give Alvin all this credit, Tocchet all this credit, Foot all this credit. I'm telling you, they're the only team in all of the NHL that would sign Vincent Desharnais to that contract. And I think they only did that because they think there's a project there and they think they can help him reach his potential. But no other team in the league is giving away an asset to take on $2 million of Vincent Desharnais. That is just the truth.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that because I think one team that would do it would be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Look, you got a GM in Brad Treliving who has consistently targeted the big tough guys, right? He goes out and gets, Ryan Reeves and all that stuff on defense. Yanni Hakkapaa is another big, slow defenseman. I honestly think the Toronto Maple Leafs, there could be a world where, again, they take on a guy like Vinny Desharnais, but that's not really the point, right? I think the point is, what would they get for Timothy Liljegren? And I think, you read around the league in terms of what other insiders and other pundits are saying, and it's like you could probably get Liljegren on the cheap because he's kind of on the outside looking in Toronto and because of the cap at $3 million because they are in cap hell right now. So
True.
I don't know. I'm really interested in Liljegren potentially coming to Vancouver. And look, Carson Soucy was a bet they made in terms of you give him a middle of the road contract and hope he can play in a second pairing role. And I think so far they've been rewarded for that bet, although there's still, early days here. Liljegren's another example of a guy who got that, 2x3 contract with the hope that he could maybe play second pair minutes and did play second pair minutes for a lot of last year. I mean, to me, I do think there is some upside in the potential Soucy Liljegren pairing. You got better puck moving ability, better skating ability than like Soucy Myers or Soucy Desharnais or any of that stuff, right? So, again, I'm intrigued by Liljegren potentially coming to Vancouver because I don't think he's going to cost a lot. And I think the Leafs are going to give him up for cheap because of the cap situation.
Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. And again, if a trade like this does happen, again, I think moving off of $2 million is probably critical for the Canucks and to do so, right? And the whole Desharnais thing is, I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. I think I still have faith in Foot and Tocchet finding a way to fix this project or get an A on this project or a B, not a D. They better not get a D on this project, at least a B. But I feel as if they'll see the rewards of that B next year, not this year. Not this year in the middle of the fight, in the middle of the war. Like Vincent Desharnais doesn't have a base like Tyler Myers, where he was kind of able to simplify his game. Myers, that is, when Foot and Tocchet sat this guy down and was like, yo, just relax out there. And again, Myers was able to be more consistent, play more mistake-free, but I just think that Desharnais's so much of a project, man. And he did a lot of, after he made a few mistakes in the first half of the game, he played a bit of a smoother game moving forward, but just again, I'm sorry, but I see a lot of Lucas Spiza in them, man. For real.
The trauma is real with you, buddy. Look,
Trauma's real.
if Desharnais sticks around, I think it's a couple months. I don't think it's a year because look at Noah Juleson last year. You mentioned Tyler Myers having a base. Did Noah Juleson have a base? No, he did not, and he was a lot better as the season went on. Kyle, let's take a quick break here.
Because Vinny DNA, he's a good skater. He's a good skater. Like when he lugs the puck and has room in front of him. You're right. Okay, Trevor, you slap me in the face. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'll take it. Prove me wrong. Vincent Desharnais, if you see him in the hallway, RKO me. Smash me in the head with a steel chair. Take a sledgehammer right to my ribs. Because I'm talking ish about somebody who's doing representing the blue and green, battling on the ice for me. I know, I'm being an asshole right now. But it's early in the morning, and I've only taken 2 sips of my coffee, okay? So I'm sorry, Vincent Desharnais, prove me wrong. And, just beat me up.
All right, well, Kyle, go guzzle that coffee as we cut to break here and shout at our friends over at FanDuel and Gametime. All right, NHL fans, NFL fans, MLB fans, make sure you get in on the action this season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Soon you get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And man, oh man, we've been talking about Quinn Hughes to start this episode of Locked On Canucks, and FanDuel, man. FanDuel. I wouldn't say they're disrespecting Quinn Hughes, but he has the 3rd highest odds of winning the Norris here. So maybe a little bit of disrespect. Cale Makar plus 210 to win it this season. Adam Fox plus 600, and then Quinn Hughes plus 700. So if you're like me and you think Quinn Hughes is going to dominate this season, and hit that 100-point level and win the Norris, you got some value there on FanDuel. So whatever bet you're placing, make sure you go check out FanDuel.com.
Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, bam.
All right. Have you ever bought tickets to a show and had a 3-hour stiffy? That's what it's like to buy tickets to your Vancouver Canucks and watch that Quinn Hughes guy play hockey. Oh, baby. And if you're buying tickets to go watch Quinn Hughes and the Vancouver Canucks, make sure you check out Gametime, okay? Because Gametime, they are the only place you should be going to buying tickets because they got that lowest price guarantee, baby, meaning you won't find tickets for cheaper anywhere else. Gametime, they also have this new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks, they filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets, all right? And come on, when you're on that Gametime app, you got all these little things popping up everywhere. You click on that Gametime Picks, and they truly do filter out the fluff and show you the best seats available. On the app, you also get the seat views as well, so you can experience what it'd be like right from the comfort of your phone while you're on the toilet, baby, okay? So make sure Gametime, they got it all. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Go download that Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Quit use time. I mean, Gametime.
People. We back doing this. Talking about your Vancouver Canucks, okay? Here on Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Toes Art Lab for allowing us to use a space that gives us the ability to take the time to talk about the Canucks whenever we want. For real. Okay, a lot of West Coast bias in this building. We produce a lot of music in here, but it all starts with the Canucks somehow, some way. Speaking of which, hit the links in the bio. I'm writing. I'm going to be editing my blog again today. When I wrote about Pettersson a couple days ago, I was swearing a lot. My bad. Also coming out with a separate Canucks show, a separate post-game show. Just trying to figure out some tech issues. But again, hit the link in the bios, help us out, support the show, subscribe there, build the base, and then join the Discord because we have a lot of fun over there. Okay, it's the first place I go in the morning. I don't text my girlfriend first thing in the morning. I text the Discord because we are all Canucks, and the first love of my life was the Vancouver Canucks. And bro, where am I going with this? Kiefer Sherwood. I love that dude, man. The dude's a dog. And bro, I have to throw this guy in the mix too. Teddy Bluger's a dog too. So I'm going to ask you, Trevor Beggs, not that you have to do this because comparison is the thief of joy, but who was the bigger dog last night? Kiefer Sherwood with 10 hits or Teddy Bluger with almost a Gordie Howe hat trick?
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I mean, Look, it's hard not to go with Teddy Bluger with the goal and fighting his Latvian brother. What's going on, man? And Aaron Gray in the comments saying props to Teddy Bluger for not only being the second best Canuck forward through 4 games, in his opinion, probably with Connor Garland first, but for having the first Latvian versus Latvian fight
Wow.
in NHL
Aaron
history.
Gray, dude. Aaron Gray, he seems like he's the type of guy that if you and him played on different teams of hockey next season because of contract negotiations going wrong, again, Aaron Gray, probably one of the stiffest GMs in ball hockey history. If I told you what he did last year to help win his team a championship, Trevor Beggs would be canceled, okay? For real. Anyways, if they were on separate teams, you and your friend Aaron, I guarantee he'd kick your ass.
Oh yeah, he's more built
us-
than me. Like this
Yeah.
guy trains for ball hockey, man. My only training is chasing kids around. So, look, I think Teddy Bluger probably the more impressive guy, but that's a tough one because Kiefer Sherwood right now, man, he has come as advertised. And Kyle, you had that episode. Shout out to the everydayers; they know this. You had that episode talking about fan favorites this season, and I know Kiefer Sherwood was one of your guys. And he's come as advertised so far. I mean, double-digit totals and hits last night. Takes a puck to the face, gets right back up. He's out there not long after. I don't even know if he missed a shift, to be honest with you. He actually, through 4 games, is third in the NHL in hits. Third in hits, only behind former Canuck Jonah Gadjevich, who's played 2 more games, and Moritz Seider. So, man, oh, man. Kiefer Sherwood, again. It's funny. This guy comes in, and he's one of those guys who has, been successful being, a top scorer of the AHL and in college and all that stuff, and reworks his game in the NHL. And, really, we saw in Nashville last season, just started thumping bodies around. And now he comes to Vancouver. Not only is he, throwing the body around, but he's also killing penalties too, which he's barely ever done. So, Kiefer Sherwood he has been one of the most impressive Canucks to me so far. And it mainly comes from his all-around game. Obviously not necessarily offense, even though he did pick up his first point last night. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, buddy. You did it. You did it. And, there was all this talk about Sherwood's shot prior to the season starting and him being a wild card to potentially, score some bingos and be an offensive threat. And here I was questioning all that, not because I'm doubting the dude, but just based on like the depth on this team and also what Tocchet mainly would want from him. I feel as if it doesn't really tie in with the offense. Now, the offense is a bonus, but when you're talking about the base with Kiefer Sherwood, it's exactly what you need and what this team essentially needed too. I mean, if you look at last year, we didn't have guys that quick or that tenacious, like a guy like Sam Lafferty is not finishing every check the way Kiefer Sherwood does. And even if Lafferty is finishing every check, he's, again, not implementing the same amount of force. Like if you watch Kiefer Sherwood closely, like he is throwing his weight around. Like every single shift is a shift in a playoff game. You know what I'm saying? That being said, Teddy Bluger, man, again, Trevor Beggs, it was your daughter's birthday yesterday. I hope you got her a teddy bear, man, because we can't, technology's moving quick. 2024, about to be 2025. I feel as if we've lost touch with the importance of a teddy bear. You know what I'm saying? And Teddy Bluger is making me think about my childhood and the lack of a teddy bear and how, again, that's why I like being the little spoon now. Where am I going with this? I just love Teddy Bluger. I think he's such a critical part of this team, and I love his work ethic and his base layer of skill. I really do, and I feel as if he's putting himself in a position to find an opportunity to play with Garland and Joshua again. I know we give Garland all this top 6 talk. I've been doing it lately, but when I see Bluger play like this, I'm like, damn, there might be a chance for that third line to be a thing again.
Yeah, and I think we're just waiting for Dak to come back, but I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if the Canucks' first game back, it's Dak, Bluger, and who am I missing? Dak, Bluger, and Joshua. And Garland. Oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah,
unbelievable
it's okay.
stuff.
You got to drink some coffee. You've had 14 hours of sleep in the last 7 days. I know. You've had a busy week, man. You're a dad.
Unbelievable stuff. Barely any sleep, but still bringing the emotion. Okay, and shout out to Major Tal in the comments. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Saying always bringing the emotion. That's what we love. Yeah, of course, man. Come on. Again, not the smartest guys in the world, but definitely emotional creatures. And speaking of emotional guys, Smirky McSir saying you guys should love to JT the brand Miller yet. And it was Miller time last night, as Dave Tomlinson said. And again, man, oh man, again, all the talk about Pettersson's struggles and blah, blah, blah. Again, I think we are blessed to have both Miller and Pettersson in Vancouver. And they are the reason, aside from, Quinn Hughes and the depth and all that, why the team has Stanley Cup aspirations, because they have 2 superstars. And we talk about Quinn Hughes being underappreciated. Look, I think JT Miller is absolutely underappreciated league-wide. and just coming through in the clutch, man. Coming through in the clutch with that sick goal. Like, he did not have a lot of time and space to get that shot off, and he rips it top corner. A huge goal to get the Canucks their first win of the season. And yeah, JT Miller, man, an absolute dog, buddy.
What a play. Like, that's why you have to practice, man. That's why the details matter. Like, that whole play was beautiful. Trevor, if you were in the media box yesterday to watch that game and you would have that point of view of that whole play breaking down, I feel as if your hockey brain would have exploded, because it just seems so fresh and so delicate and so efficient. Beautiful play from Miller and Hughes. Miller, again, this whole Pettersson thing, how am I doing this? Is because for once I'm the darkest guy in the program, right? But you look at Miller previous to yesterday's game, outside of what he did against Calgary offensively at spurts, he was struggling too. He was just as bad as Pettersson, like turnover machine. And still, you see his ability, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't for him, especially when he's struggling. But you see his ability to take chances because he knows he's JT Miller. He's a dog. Yeah, I made one mistake. Yeah, I made two mistakes. Yeah, I've been bad for 2 games. Who gives a beep? I'm going to do something about it right now. And look at what he did. That was a beautiful goal, beautiful shot. That was excellent. And that's what I want to see from Pettersson. Again, the base level was there for Pettersson. He's doing all the little things, and he's making plays, and he could have had a couple points yesterday, and I like it. I really do like it. But I hope we're getting closer and closer to him having the confidence to just do whatever the F he wants, man. Screw the haters, screw the noise, screw what happened on your last shift. You're Elias Pettersson. Be a dog. Be that guy. Straight up. Okay?
Be that guy, and we'll continue to be those guys here.
Can I say one more thing too? Sorry to cut you off. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to end it on this note. Okay. Hit the like button, smash the like button, do your thing. It really helps us out a lot. Begsy Bowen, Christmas is coming up. Begsy got a family. I'll have a family of 7 years. I got to, exactly do the math. Okay. Anyways, look at what Major Tao is saying. And I might be an asshole for this, but Major Tao is saying Darnay has the intangibles. He seems to get along with the players well. Okay. So he's like one of those good guys. He laughs a lot. You need a guy like this in this room. I feel as if there's a part of the Canucks organization that was like, oh my God, we're going to lose Zadorov. We need another tall, funny guy that can fight and like support the boys and be a glue guy, right? Like, we got to get Vinny Darnay. I swear to you. And now there's some news about what happened with the Zadorov negotiations, like the Rick Dhaliwal, reporting that the Canucks offered a 4-year deal, 4.6 per. They didn't budge on not giving him the 5th year until it was too late, blah, blah, blah. All in all, again, Vinny D, a good guy. Good locker room guy. Probably knows a couple good songs, too, to pump up the boys. All that being said, there's this clip that's circling around Twitter right now of Vincent Darnay trying to pump up Quinn Hughes on the bench. And what is Quinn Hughes doing? Not giving an F. This whole logic that you need to have, like, these locker room guys, and it's got to be a critical thing, like the greatest thing ever. You got to have these guys. I get it. But at the same time, does it really matter? Does it really, really matter? Again, watch the video. Like, Quinn Hughes is locked in. That's what you need. You need players locked in and being efficient to take it to the top. All these guys are good guys, man. There's no assholes. You know what I'm saying, bro? Bro, if I don't know, man. Sometimes I see how NHL teams operate, and I'm like, yo, when I have a son, I'm gonna just make sure he's a good guy, knows good music, and can skate, and is right-handed. And go, boom, you just won the lottery. I'm gonna be on my deathbed, and I'm gonna regret my life not learning how to ice skate, because I feel like I'm a good guy. I'm a funny guy. I could be a good locker room guy. I could have made the NHL. Anyways, I'm an asshole. Hit the like button. Trevor Beggs, sign us out.
All right. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube, wherever you're listening, whenever you're listening. We appreciate the hell out of you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks. Canucks try to get their revenge against the Flyers this Saturday at 4 p.m. I'm on the post-game coverage for Daily Hive. Kyle might be on the post-game coverage here on his own network. Maybe I'll be there. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I know that we'll be back at least by Monday next week, because it is Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. But for now, we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.